Thinking about our current climate, geopolitical, sector related, why would you say today or now is a good time for, say, corporate executives to start pursuing independent consultancy? Why now?
Tony, I think it's probably more than just pursuing the opportunity, but actually starting to think about it, because the world is, as we found, and this goes back before the pandemic. I mean, I can think back of times in the early 2000s when we were talking about massive recession and things along those lines, and some things that really had a huge impact on the independent consulting world back then, and I see a lot of those similarities now. It's the idea that we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And personally, that's something that scared the heck out of me a while ago. And one of the main reasons that I decided to go into something on my own was I didn't know what the world around me was going to do. I personally felt that I didn't want to not have control. I didn't want to get, I had the experience earlier on in my career of getting the notice that said, "Hey, just so you know, we're closing the company tomorrow." I was young, and I had no idea that could happen, kind of thing, and it really grasped me and hit me pretty darn hard. And so today, the same things are happening, and companies are shutting down, companies are starting up, but it's in the larger organizations, and especially for corporate executives, what we're finding is that the impacts that the economy, the impacts that November are going to have on our company, on our country, and on the organizations inside of it. The opportunities for executives to grow within their own companies, they're questionable. They're not predictable. I mean, we have one of our guys who came on board with us a couple of years ago, was in an aerospace organization, very large. You would know them very quickly if I even mention it. You can probably figure out it's one of about 3 companies, and he got offered a promotion. And at first glance, everybody says, "Oh, good, I'm going to get promoted. That's what I want." And that promotion came along with, "Well, you're going to have to start traveling." And as he looked at that and he talked to his spouse and he talked to his children who were a little younger, he didn't want to get on the plane every day.
Yeah.
Or, well, I always use the expression, you get on the plane on Sunday, you get off it on Thursday, maybe Friday. You spend the weekend at home and then you're back on another plane. And he said, I don't want to do that. He said, "I can't do that." And one of the realizations he came to, which I think is very unfortunate, is if you turn down that promotion, his future in that organization was limited anyway. The organization then looks at you and says, "Oh, well, you're not a team player. You're not willing to make the commitment to the organization." And so opportunities in the future are going to be gone. And the opportunity to keep your own role may be gone shortly. Right now, those kind of things that, they may be positive in one aspect, but in the end, they actually have a negative impact on your professional future. So right now, there's so many questions about what companies, what industries. We see layoffs all the time. We see other organizations that are expanding, not even linearly, but exponentially. And so what organization do you work for currently? Is that one that's going to be expanding? And is that expansion going to include you in a role that you want? Or is your organization going to be, is that industry now starting to fall off? Don't talk about it a lot, but artificial intelligence. In the last 6 months ago, there was only conversation about artificial intelligence, blowing up. Well, there's now some studies that you look over, and most of them are being done in Europe, it seems like. But there's some studies that are being done that are saying, wait a second, there's more and more people that are starting to figure out, wait a second, we need to slow this AI thing down, because we don't want to get rid of human thought. We don't want to get rid of that human development. We want to figure out, is there a way to help it, but maybe not limit it. So, even AI, although 6 months ago we said you couldn't find a more booming business, today that may be different, and so it's almost impossible to predict the future. And the only way I think that you can do it is to create your own. And so now I think is the time to maybe not necessarily start a consulting business, but definitely is the time to start thinking about what would it look like if I had more control over my own future.
Right. I'm going to underscore what you said. You just don't know. And that's something that you can know. I'm going to do this, right? No one's going to tell me otherwise.